Hello everyone, welcome to this first video on the practicals in the FemtoUP Phenomena 2021 school. So today in this video I'm going to show you how to install everything that will be needed for these practicals lessons and how we are going to use Python and which editor and so on. So first of all, I will talk about Python environment and packaging and installing package and so on. And we'll see how to do that all together. Okay, so on your computer, without you even knowing, you may already have a lot of Python version installed. It could be system-wide installation that are recognized by Windows sometimes, but you can be sure that on Mac or on Linux, you have a Python that is already known and installed. But for various reasons, we don't really want not control which version of Python and which one is activated when we are launching some code. So other Python could be located within program. For instance, Inkscape is using Python as is shipped with one. But most of all, you will have a need for various Python versions because some program requires old version, like for instance the 2.7 or 32 bits version or 64, and specific packages to run some libraries, but that are not compatible altogether. So to deal with all that, we're going to use an environment manager and somehow wrap Python within a tight environment. So within this environment, within each of these environments, there will be one and only one version of Python that will be known and recognized. And within each of these environments, you will be able to install any kind of packages that you want. So you can have on the same computer many environments, so many different kind of Python installation, and you may want to use them for various purposes. So we're going to see which software to use for doing that, and to be sure that all of you, me as well, will have the same kind of environment. So we will be using environment and package manager. So first of all, we will be using conda, which is a well-known environment manager to obtain our environment. And then within the environment, we can install packages. So to install packages, we will fit them on servers. So there is a well-known server, which is PyP, which we access using the functionality pip. It's the one we will be using most of the time. But conda is not only an environment manager, it's also a package manager. So we can go on the conda server using conda, just the same as with pip. But not all packages are on both servers, so sometimes we have to use one or the other. Okay, but first of all, let's start with conda, and we will be using mini conda, which is kind of the equivalent of anaconda, but is very lightweight. There is only the environment manager that will be installed, and then we create ourselves our environment and put inside all the packages we want. So to get mini conda, we are going to the miniconda web page, and on the installers you will find the Windows one, Mac OS, or Linux installer. So you pick the one in 64 bits that is okay for your computer. We'll use the one in the Python 3.8 version, but you'll see later that you can install from that any kind of Python version. So you download it, and once it's downloaded, we will be running it. So I'm doing it together with you. So yes, I want to execute it, and I will install it for the moment just for me, but anyhow, no, let's say all users. So I need admin privileges that I'm doing right now. And it's asking us where we want to install it. So here you don't want to follow what's given by Windows, but just install it on the root. It will save some hassle later. So just do it like this. And because I have already run, I will just add a letter B for this here, but don't do it. It doesn't matter. Okay. Next, there is two options here. What are they? What are these options? The first one is to add Miniconda to the system path. You don't want this option to be activated because otherwise, every time you want to start Python, this will supersede it. This version, the one shipped with Miniconda, will supersede it, and it will be a trouble. You will have to disinstall Anaconda a few times. You don't want really to register Miniconda neither. We will be configuring everything ourselves. All right, and you press install. It's very quick, and what you'll get is an installation here. So that's the second version, but one here as well, with many things, and especially a location for your environments. All right, so we have the environment manager ready. Now, the question is, how do we create environment? So that's done, and then we will start a command prompt because many things will be installed from the command prompt, but not just a regular one. Here, if I press command, I get the regular command prompt from Windows, while installing Miniconda provide me with a specific command prompt where there is a bit of initialization and some folders added to the path. So it may recognize them. When I'm doing it, I have this thing. So that's the command line. With here, there's an indication that is not present on the regular command prompt. It tells you that you are in the base environment produced by default by Miniconda. Okay. For other users like Linux or Mac, you may have that already when you start your shell from scratch. If you're on Windows and you don't find this one, no worries. You just start a regular one, and you'll have to cd to the location of Miniconda, and within the conda bin folder, where there is the program called conda that will be present. So you press conda, activate, and here you go. You obtain as well the base environment. So using the Anaconda prompt is just quicker, but if you don't find it, you just have to do this step, this cd to the location of conda bin first. Okay. And now I'm here. So what's next? So I'll go back to my presentation, and I'll have to create a new environment using this kind of expression. So I'm using the program conda to create a new environment whose name -n stands for the name, which will be called FemtoUP, and I specify it that I want to use Python version 3.8.5. Just trust me, that's quite a good one at the moment. So, okay, well, let's do it. So, conda create -n FemtoUP with Python version 3.8.5. Okay. Okay, I already have one because I tried it earlier, but I didn't remove it. So I'll first remove it and then reinstall it. Okay, so conda is actually fetching packages on its own server and will let us know what should be done to create the new environment. So it will be installing a few things in this environment. There will be Python. It will be the version 3.8.5, and there will be other programs that will be very useful for building packages, installing and fetching packages, and so on. And we'll see that in a minute. Here, I press yes. And at that time, mini conda is just creating the environment and installing a Python version with it. So here we go. It's done. And it tells us that we have to activate the environment to replace the base one. So here we go. Conda activate FemtoUP. And now my environment here is FemtoUP as I wanted, which means that if I start Python in it, just like this, I will have the Python version 3.8.5 as I requested. Okay, now I quit the Python console to get back to the Windows console. And here now I have my environment, but there's not much in it. All right, so now I have my environment, FemtoUP, and I need to install the packages within. So to do that, I will ask you to install 3 packages, Spider, JupyterLab, and PyMoDAQ, that we are going to use in the following practicals. There is just a particularity from the documentation. Spider is telling us it's better to use conda to install Spider. So you're gonna use conda install Spider instruction here. And for the other two, the developers tells us it's better to use pip. So you can just use pip install JupyterLab or pip install PyMoDAQ. And once you've done that, here within your FemtoUP folder, you just press conda install Spider, and you're done. And I've already did it just a minute ago. So once you've done with that, you can just press Spider and it will open up the program. So you see that the splash screen from Spider is opened, and then you obtain this this editor that we'll see together more in detail. So it shows me this window telling me that there is a mandatory package that is not installed. It's called R3, and I checked it. It's already installed in the environment. So, well, at the moment it doesn't really matter. You probably don't see it. I don't know. Okay. And here you see that in Spider, but we'll see that in more in detail in another video, that you have here on the bottom right a Python console where you can enter stuff and print stuff. So we'll see all these Spider environment in another video. But you can start as well JupyterLab or PyMoDAQ. So from PyMoDAQ, you can type in, for instance, DAQ viewer. And if it's correctly installed, you'll see this GUI that lets you grab data from a fake detectors. And that's it for the moment. We'll come back to that at the end of the practicals. Okay. So we are back here in the command line, and you should be able now. Sorry. So now you should be able to manage your packages, so create environment and install packages, any kind of Python packages. So I hope it will be useful for your further later development or data analysis and so on. And that you will stick to this environment thing, which makes very things neat and clear and wrapped up properly. But for the practicals, we are not going to use this kind of this way of installing it manually, because there's another way, which is to use an environment file with conda. So that's my last slide here, and I've put on GitHub on the FemtoUP repository an installation folder where there's an install.yml file. In there, you have already defined a few things. Another environment name, FemtoUP file here, and a few dependencies to be installed using conda. So for instance, Python equal 3.8, pip, numpy, spider, and so on and so on. And specific packages to be installed from pip as well in here. By doing so, I'm sure we will have all the same kind of environment with the same kind of packages, and I'm sure it will prove useful for the many of you who will do the practicals with us. So there is another command to enter on your command line. Here it's conda env create -f for file, and here's the name of this YML file and install. So how to do that? Well, first you go on the GitHub website, and in here on the installation repository. So if I go on the Femto organization on GitHub, I have this repository, and then here this file. So I can, here in code, I can download using a zip file, and then I extract it and I put it on my folder, on a folder. Then I can go back to my command line and cd at the location of this folder I've just downloaded, zipped and unzipped, of course, downloaded and unzipped, sorry. And if you do that and you look at what's inside, you have this environment file in it. So you type in here conda and create a new environment using the file of install.yml. Enter, and this will create this new environment called FemtoUP file, which will contain all the things you need. So finally, I chose to use Python 3.8.6. Spider will be installed, JupyterLab will be installed, and PyMoDAC as well. So press enter here would take quite a while, so I did it just a few minutes ago before the video, and I have now my environment that is ready here. You see that I have three environments: base one, FemtoUP, the manually set one, and FemtoUP file. So I can activate it. So conda activate FemtoUP file. Here you go, and you press in spider, for instance, and spider is showing up. So we'll just check everything's fine. Yes, it is. Here I have the 3.8.6 version of Python. There is no more window showing up with this R3 stuff, so it's much better. And we are ready to use it. Okay, I'll close it now. We'll just check that Jupyter Lab is up and running. So it's to call it, we type in Jupyter space lab. So what this is doing is actually opening a window in the web server, in your web server. I'll go to full screen. In here, you have a window in there where you can open notebooks, a complete Python console, and some other stuff the Jupyter Lab interface is providing. Okay, we can just stop that. Okay, let's stop it. Okay, I'll get back the command here, and finally, I'm just checking PyMoDAC is installed using DAC viewer. Okay, init. No, it's not happy. Yes, it is. I'm sorry. Okay, so it's working fine. Perfect. Oh. So now is your turn, and it's time to go to your keyboards and computers and set up all these Python environment stuff, and just be ready for the first of the practicals on FemtoUP 2021. Thank you for your attention, and see you soon.